Here's a fun fact. I was a lot better with my money back when I barely made enough compared to now that I'm financially comfortable. Let's talk about it.
Average credit card debt balance by income. Yes, this is the month-to-month balance that people are carrying and paying an insane amount of interest on. The average interest rate on a credit card today in America is just north of 24%. To kick things off, median household income of $20,540, average credit card debt balance of $3,630, median household income of $43,240, average credit card debt balance of $3,840, median household income of $70,260, average credit card debt balance of $5,950. Now, we do break six figures, and I don't understand why anyone above six figures in income would be carrying a credit card debt balance, but median household income of $115,660, average credit card debt balance of $7,440, median household income $189,160, average credit card debt balance of $8,900. Finally, the highest, median household income of $390,210, and an average credit card debt balance of $11,200.
I think I finally figured out why 60% of six-figure earners are living paycheck to paycheck. And it's not just because, oh, they got credit card debt. It's not just because, oh, they have an inflated lifestyle. It literally comes from the lack of planning.
Hey people, how are we? I am Loveth. This is Money Conversations, where we discuss all things money, especially holding on to a lot more of our money. I know I usually don't introduce myself, so I'm trying to get into the habit of doing that. Today, we are going to discuss high income, high debt, because contrary to what you may think, it's a lot easier to do the right thing with money, manage your money well when you don't have surplus compared to when you do have surplus, which is what I consider being comfortable, when your monthly income can pay your monthly expenses and still have some leftover. Then you're financially comfortable. I've had years of being financially comfortable. So I have good data set that I'm working with. And based on my experience, I was a lot more diligent, efficient, and mindful of my money. And that's because I had no choice. Every dollar that came into my account at that time had a purpose before it even came into my account. I had already pre-planned what I needed the money to do. And I'm not talking fun. I'm talking necessities. Compared to life now, the downside of being high earners is that there are no consequences to not being efficient or diligent with money. So losing $50 on a subscription you don't use, okay, no big deal. There's no way back then I would be paying for something and I'm not aware of it. I was connected to my account. I felt money leave. Compared to now, oh yeah, money can leave and I wouldn't know unless I manually, physically review my account. But the downside to that is there's a lot more wasting, and there's also a lot more poor financial judgment.
So I'm currently going viral on the internet for having $65,000 in credit card debt. Let's talk about it. But I wanted to talk about what we spent for us to get to $65,000 in credit card debt. When I lost my job, that was completely unexpected. I've already said this, but I'm going to say it again. I reported into the CFO. That means I knew how much money was in our GL. I knew that my bonus would be funded. I was getting accolades in my job and being told I was doing a good job. So I expected to get a large bonus. That is a huge mistake. I have learned my lesson. Because I was expecting a huge bonus, we dipped into our emergency fund and did some house maintenance. I also prepaid to have a tummy tuck because I had lost 125 pounds. I was scheduled to have a tummy tuck 2 weeks before I lost my job and also when I was expecting the bonus. What should have been my bonus meeting was a meeting me finding out I was laid off. Me being the breadwinner of our family, losing our income was financially devastating.
That's one of the slippery slope for high earners, is that the debt is something you can clear off every single month. It's no big deal. Okay, we've racked up 10,000 in credit card debt, and we can pay it up. No big. They don't feel the sting. Oh, let me not point fingers. We don't feel the sting until something happens and throws things off, and now you're in debt, but you don't have money like you usually do to clear it out. And just like that, it builds interest, it grows, and it keeps growing. You know how that goes.
And we did go into survival mode. I started dog sitting on Rover. I took a call center job just so I could make $9 an hour. And it was something that I could start doing immediately. My friend owned the company, that's why. I started pitching small businesses, social media packages so I could run their social media. I started taking any sort of UGC deals that I could get. That just kept us afloat. That income I brought in, plus my husband's income, paid for our insurance, it paid for our kids' daycare, it paid for our car payments, it paid for our house. I did not expect to be out of my job for 7 months. I got through a very long interview process, being told through the interview that I was going to get an offer, to find out after 3 months that they eliminated the position before I even started. And then luckily I found a job 7 months later in my field, making what I was making before, but we had put all of our variable expenses on credit cards. Groceries, electric, phone bill, Netflix. We did cut out a lot of stuff out of our lives. But we also had been living life like we were $400,000 a year earners. We had bought both of our cars before I lost my job. And because we had a sense that I was going to land something soon and I was earning enough to make my car payment or our car payments, it didn't make sense for us to get rid of the cars. So I finally got myself into a job and we had debt. And instead of focusing back on rebuilding our savings, paying off the debt, we spent a lot of money. We had Disney annual passes, so we were going to Disney a lot. We took a family vacation. We shouldn't have done that. I also have a very good friend of mine who is a single mother who was really struggling to make ends meet. I offered her a job. She came to work for me for a bit, and she wanted to go to cosmetology school. My husband and I decided to pay for her to go to cosmetology school, and we also paid for her bills for the 5-month program that she was in. We were paying her rent, we were paying her utilities, we were paying all of that for her. I don't regret doing that, but it cost me $15,000. That's money that I could have used to pay off my debt or put into savings, but she is now graduated, working in her field, making a very nice income for her and her daughter. And before that, she was going to be kicked out of her apartment. I did that because, again, $65,000 in credit card debt to me was a privilege. It was a Disney trip. It was a tummy tuck. These are not real problems. Being able to put a roof over you and your child's head is a real problem. And I was working and I could give her some money. Yes, those funds could have helped to go towards paying off my credit card debt, but I didn't prioritize it because I didn't think it was a priority. Now I'm prioritizing it. Again, by not doing stupid, I can pay it off in a few months. I'm also going to go ahead and just address how much we make and why filing bankruptcy for $65,000 in credit card debt is not an option for us. When you combine my husband's income and my income, plus what I make as an influencer, we make close to $400,000 a year. We are high earners. So $65,000 in credit card debt is not that hard for us to be able to pay off. We didn't go into debt trying to feed our family. We went into debt because we were lazy. I take full accountability for that.
$65,000 of credit card debt? Are you serious? And I believe you. If you haven't watched this video, people are attacking this woman for having $65,000 of credit card debt, and honestly, I don't blame her. If you're unfamiliar with the wealth effect, I highly recommend you get familiar. It's an economic theory where people who make more money have a tendency to spend more money. And there are people who anticipate to make more money and also spend more money because of that. And that's exactly what this woman fell into. But she had a really big mistake, lost her job, and accumulated a lot of debt because she was the primary breadwinner for her family. It's very interesting to actually learn about this inside of your classes in college. I've taken 5 econ courses, and to actually see it in person is just really interesting. At the end of the day, she's taking accountability and being responsible with her money now. Something that I follow and truly believe is that she's smart. She's learning from her mistakes. And there are smart people who learn from their mistakes and wise people that learn from other people's mistakes. I was just fortunate enough to learn about this way before I actually had to experience it firsthand.
Those who make more spend more, and rightfully so, right? Because the whole point of you trying to strive to earn more isn't to then keep living this life of struggle. You should live a comfortable life and a good life, a fun life. Where we get into problems as high earners is we get so used to having room to play that we keep pushing the boundaries that we play in. And because the consequence isn't immediate, it becomes a habit. And to a point for a lot of us living above our means. Of course, if she never lost a job, there would have been no consequences. It would have been fine. But now, because she did lose her job, now we realize it's actually not wise to spend the money you haven't received. And how are you spending the money you haven't received when you make $400,000 a year? See, for high earners, that thought process doesn't come in until something happens.
So I see this a lot. Higher earners who are facing growing credit card debt. And even just saying that, it sounds oxymoronic, right? But they sit there and wonder, how did I even get here? Well, most likely, here's how. Through a seemingly harmless habit that I see time and time again in these payday routine videos. And it's usually step one of the payday routine. And that's, okay, my paycheck hit, I'm going to go over and I'm going to make my credit card payments. I'm going to log into Chase, I'm going to log into Capital One and pay off my cards, or as much as I can anyway. Sounds fine, right? Seemingly harmless, like I said. Yeah, no, Rachel, that checks out. I got paid. I'm going to pay what I owe, just like I do with my mortgage, student loan payments, paycheck hits, pay the debt. But credit cards are a league of their own, and they should not be treated the way that we treat other debt payments. And it kills me when people just push right past this in the payday routine. They're like, yep, made a credit card payment. Now I got to go pay my rent. No, we cannot just gloss right over this habit. We need to unpack this. This is problematic. Because here's the thing. Right away, what you're telling me, if this is your pattern, that you swipe your credit card and then you pay it off when you get paid, right away, what you're telling me is that in the month prior or the pay cycle prior, you were swiping your card against money you didn't yet have. You were doing the credit card spending with income you hadn't yet earned. And look, I know we all fundamentally understand that credit cards are borrowed money, right? It's debt. We have to pay off what we spend on the card. And if we don't pay it off in full, on time, we are charged interest. We know that that's how credit cards work. But the concept was never meant to be that you use the card and then you get paid and pay it off. It's supposed to be the other way around. You get paid, you have the money, and then you swipe against the money that you have. You don't spend on the credit card with money that's out in front of you. You spend on the card with money that is with you. Otherwise, unless you have the ultimate discipline to only put on the credit card up to what you know you can very comfortably pay off when you get paid, and even then I don't recommend this habit, unless you have that ultimate discipline, you're going to overspend. You will swipe a little bit too much. Texas Hold'em will drop and you'll be like, I gotta get boots and a hat because obviously, and you'll find yourself saying, yeah, usually it's like about $3,000 that I can put on the card month after month and I'll be fine, but now you're creeping up more towards $4,000. But you know that paycheck is coming. You're a salaried employee. Every other Friday it hits. You know what it's going to be down to the penny. And you're like, I can pay off most of it, right? A higher earner is going to say, yeah, like I'll pay off like 80, 90% of it. It's fine. And then I'll just pay off the rest when I get paid again. It's all good. It's not going to get out of control. And yet, so here you are now deep in this rhythm of swiping your credit card and then making payments when you get paid. And you're scratching your head going, how do I get out of this then? How do I fix this? The only way that you're going to fix it is for you to look at your credit card balance. Let's say, for example, it's $7,000. That's how much you owe on your credit cards. This month, net, what you took home was $12,000, let's say. You are going to have to cease credit card use and as fast as possible, pay off that full credit card balance. And you may not be able to do it this month. You may have to spread it across 2 months, but as fast as possible, you're paying off that card in full with enough funds left in your checking account to meet your necessary costs, food, housing, transportation, right? You got to put together a little bit of a mini budget. You've got a little bit of homework you got to do. Make sure that you're going to be able to cover those things with your checking account because you're not going to use your credit card throughout this process. But you have to crush that credit card debt as fast as you can, get yourself down to zero, and then you've reset. You position yourself to start using credit cards the healthy way, which is you get paid. Now you have unlocked money to swipe your card against. Now you can put things on your credit card that are already in your budget, that you know you can comfortably pay off right now with money you already have. And then before you get paid again, whether it's the day before or the night before, you go and you zero out your cards. You pay them off in full. That is the only pattern that's going to break this cycle, get you out of that loop so that you don't find yourself in credit card trouble yet again.
I can guarantee you, you will get back in credit card trouble. I agree with most of what she said, but I can guarantee you, as a high earner, heck, even those that are not high earner, you will get back into that habit. The only way you can solve the problem is attacking your spending habit, attacking your mindset towards your money. You will rack that debt back up because you will feel as though you've done it before. Yeah, I'll do it again. It comes back to this comfort. For high earners, comfort. We get so spoiled with comfort that at the time when we're making poor financial decisions, we know it's bad. We know. And when we're thinking of, oh, I shouldn't do it, my credit card balance is going up, and comfort is going, no, 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 no. It feels good. That's why people are doing monthly payments for concert tickets. They know they can't afford it. They know they don't have the money for it now. But comfort, you're so used to comfort. Now, how much more you who earns and knows, yeah, I can pay 90% of it off. I can afford to pay 90% of it off. You'll get back. You need to attack your spending habit. You need to attack your mindset towards money. Then it would be a lot easier to be disciplined towards how much you're putting on that credit card. Your finances will not push you to reevaluate your lifestyle until you hit a worst case scenario. So now that things are good, now that income is coming in, analyze why you can't stick to your goal. That is really the only way I believe the high earners can take control of their finances and achieve their goals. You don't have a money problem, you have a spending problem. The good news is, as high earners, you're already open to this mindset. It's natural for you to see yourself as someone who can earn a certain amount compared to someone who has never earned that amount. And so you can easily repair what you've broken financially and grow, right? This video is not completely curated. While editing, I'll see if it makes sense. But I think I would hope I've made some sense and you've gotten the point. The comment section is open. I will be there and we can discuss, or let me know what you object to, what you don't agree with. And thank you all so much for watching. I will see you in the next video. Bye.